Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is taken from a double-up game with JDPL Grillo. This time we're going to be looking at a team composition that features the Pyro and the Blaster traits. Traits that I have not featured thus far in discussing TFT Set 12. The good news is we are finally off the horrible release version patch of Set 12, the version where Syndra was incredibly dominant and the only units you could really play were 2-cost rerolls. We are done with that. This patch is not great, it's okay. I think the balance is still a little bit subpar, but it is way better than the release version. You can actually play different things. For this portal, we were hoping to get the 3-cost champion. We do not get the 3-cost champion. Everyone else run over to Scuttle Puddle. This is very common. Whenever Scuttle Puddle pops up, you see everybody in the lobby runs over to it. This is a portal that causes you to get way more loot than normal. I think it's a little bit silly. I think it's kind of dumb to just have like free stuff raining down from the sky. It also weeds out certain team compositions that you can play because everyone is going to cap out super high, and that means a lot of team compositions are not viable because everybody's gonna like make it to extreme late game. So anyway, I don't love this one, but apparently everybody else does, so yeah. Okay, the initial minion round drops me what you see here, and I don't really have like any synergy in terms of what I have here. This is kind of like all over the place. The only thing that's interesting about what I've gotten thus far is I did get a Tristana to drop. Trist is a 2-cost unit. Every other unit here is a 1-cost, and they're kind of all over the place. I just put a Twitch and a Namzi on the board for Hunter trait, but I really have no direction on my board right now. I'm just kind of trying to buy up a lot of units and see what I might get. I also do have a Soraka pair for what that's worth. Tristana, her traits are Fairy plus Blaster are her 2 traits, and I haven't really featured either of those traits thus far. I haven't played through either of them very much yet up to this point in time in the set. Then I get another Trist, and I get 2 Blitzes here. So I was like, okay, well, I can definitely play the Blitzcrank for the early game. That's going to be decent. And I'll put the Trist on the board for right now, along with the Seraphine, because that's going to put Fairy trait in play. Not that Fairy 2 does a whole lot, but it's better than nothing right now. So as I said, I really don't have any clear direction right now. I'm still trying to wait to see what else I might be able to get from the board. I'm kind of waiting for the augment to see what I might get. The other way to play this is for Scuttle Puddle, you can just like sell everything that drops and try to get to 10 gold to accelerate your econ, but I really had no direction, so I was trying to just wait and see what I got and then look to play from there. So I'm doing something that's less econ, but gives me a little bit more control over what team I'm playing. All right, as far as the first augment goes, we have this one over here on the right that jumped out at me right away. Flexible. Gain 1 random emblem. At the start of the next 3 stages, gain a random emblem. Your team gains 25 health for each emblem they're holding. So I was like, okay, that sounds pretty good. I don't really have a clear direction yet. What if I just look to play this and I'll see what emblem I get? And I end up getting a Pyro emblem. So I was like, ooh, okay, Pyro emblem. I can look maybe to play a Pyro team composition because that's a lot better in this patch than it was in the last patch. It's a lot more viable. So I'll go ahead and grab the Rumble and put Rumble in. That will make Vanguard trait. It's actually also going to make Blaster trait. So this is like the perfect unit to find right now. And then I also have this as an option, Royal Shop with all 1-cost champs. That's actually going to pop up another Seraphine and another Soraka in my store. So I could potentially play the Soraka on level up on level 5. That would put Sugarcraft trait in, which could be interesting. But ultimately what I end up doing is I end up not keeping the Soraka over there. And that's because my partner, JDPL Grillo, is playing a Mage's board in this game. So I was like, oh, I have a 2-star Mage on my bench right now. I can just send that over to him, and then he'll have another Mage. By the way, I also get reinforced on in this round, but apparently I'm just able to beat both boards anyway because I've been hitting all these 2-star units, and I've off to this really strong start here. And then look at this, I get another Tristana. I actually get 2 Tristanas in my store, but I don't need 2 of them. So I now have Trist 2-star, Blitz 2-star, and I have the Seraphine 2-star as well. So I'm really hitting here in the early game, and I feel like I'm off to a great start. I'm not off to a very wealthy start. Go ahead and put the Fairy Crown on the Tristana. So like I'm not particularly wealthy. I'm kind of poor from an econ perspective, but I think my board strength is quite good right now. I'll go ahead and make the Infinity Edge on Trist. And then we've got these leftover items. I have a Rod and I also have a Vest. So I was thinking about what to do with them. I was like, why don't I just make the Crown Guard? And the big reason for doing that is, number one, there's not really anything I want that builds out of a Rod that badly. This is a physical damage comp I'm looking to play into. So I don't need to save for like a death cap or something. And I don't need a Rage Blade either, because the units I'm playing are not Rage Blade focused. Like, I'm hoping to play into Varus long term, and Varus really does not want a Rage Blade. And so I don't need to save for that. In addition to that, we've been looking at some of the stats for some of the tank items, and at least in this particular patch, some of the traditional tank items are not performing very well in this patch. Dragon's Claw, which is the double cloak item, got a big nerf in this patch, really an undeserved nerf. It was performing very well in the previous patch, but it was performing really well in the previous patch because all of the top 2-cost rerolls were all magic damage based. What did Syndra do? She was magic damage. What did Jax do? He was magic damage, etc., etc. All the reroll boards were all magic damage based. So of course Dragon's Claw was performing well in the data. It's just kind of silly. But anyway, they nerfed that, and so now that item's not very good, and Bramble Vest hasn't been very good in a long time. So the data is actually suggesting building stuff like Crown Guard, Steadfast Heart, Protector's Vow, which are some of the like non-traditional tank items that you actually do really well by building some of these items. So Crown Guard in, Bramble Vest and Dragon's Claw out, apparently. I had the items for this, so I just went ahead and made this, and it actually ended up being pretty good throughout this game. I was pretty happy I made that rather than sitting on those items. All right, well, I won the first 3 rounds, won them pretty convincingly because, as I said, my board was high rolling pretty good here. Now I wouldn't mind getting something that is either a frontline tank item or something that I can continue itemizing Tristana with. And I see that there's a bow on a 3-cost champ. I was like, oh, I would love to get that, but that gets taken, so I was like, all right, well, I'll go ahead and take the vest. I would have 100% taken the cloak in the previous patch, but I'm going to take the vest because it's half of maybe a Steadfast Heart, which is a really good tank item. And then now I'll go ahead and sell, and I'll go ahead and put in the Bard because that'll put Sugarcraft trait in play. Not that Sugarcraft does that much, but it's better than nothing. All right, let's go ahead and cover what some of these traits do because, as I said, I haven't been playing through these thus far. I'm going to go ahead and cover Fairy trait and the Blaster trait because that's kind of what I'm working through right now with this 2-star Trist as being my main unit here. Fairy trait is one of the big verticals in this set. It's you can try to get up to 9 Fairy, which is the chase trait. You require 2 emblems to hit that. More frequently, you'll be playing 2, 4, or 6 Fairy. Basically, the trait gives additional health. That's the main thing it does. Everybody gets additional health. At Fairy 2, the Fairy units gain 100 health. You also get additional special items that become stronger as you dive deeper into the trait. Right now, I have the Fairy Queen's Crown. It grants damage amp. It's like, I think it's you have to attack a certain number of times. I think you have to attack a dozen times, and then it gives 25% damage amp. So it gives me this extra item that goes on Tristana. And, you know, it's not amazing, but it does a little extra damage, and not bad having that for the early game, certainly. Then the other thing I'm playing through is Blaster trait, which is kind of interesting as well. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to get an Akali here. So that's good news. That way I can finally start to get Pyro trait in play. So I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and play the Akali. And then I'll put the Pyro emblem on Trist, and then that's going to allow me to get Pyro trait in play, which is a stacking trait. Before we get to that, though, Blaster trait. I am also playing Blaster trait in this game. I'm going to plan to drop the Fairy trait eventually, but for Blaster trait, this one got a pretty serious buff in the patch that came out, the first real patch for set 12. Blasters gain damage amp. It increases for 3 seconds after casting their ability. So Blasters 2, which I have in right now, 12% damage amp. That means that they do 12% more damage from all sources. And then after they cast their ability for the next 3 seconds, it goes up to 25% for the next 3 seconds. So they get like a big burst of extra damage. And then that basically doubles at Blaster 4, 25% at all times, 50% after they cast their ability. You can also get up to 6 Blaster, but that is almost always not worth playing. Not something that I would suggest doing unless you have an emblem or something. All right, now the other trait I have is Pyro trait, and you saw that I just highlighted that. Fortunately, I was able to win streak all the way through stage 2, which is always great. And you might also see these little fire thingies popping up on my board. These are cinders, which is one of the the stacking aspect of Pyro trait. So Pyro is a trait that is a 2-cost, a 3-cost, and 2 4-costs. Akali at the 2-cost tier, Shen at the 3-cost tier, and then Nasus and Varus at the 4-cost tier. It grants attack speed, so your team gains 3% attack speed flat. And then Pyro champions themselves gain more attack speed, and they execute enemies under 12% health. So it's a stacking trait. For every kill, Pyro champions create an Infernal Cinder that you collect in the next round. For every 4 cinders, your team gains 1% more attack speed. So the Pyro units themselves actually get a lot of attack speed. They get much more. And then you get a team-wide attack speed benefit that stacks over time as you get more of these Pyro cinders that happen over time. Now, this is the start of stage 3, and if you remember my initial augment flexible, I get a new emblem every single time we start a new stage, up until the beginning of stage. I'm trying to remember. I think I get the last one at the beginning of stage 5. Well, anyway, I went ahead and I have now gotten a fairy emblem, so I was like, oh, okay. I just got a fairy emblem, so I was able to send the Seraphine over to Grillo. That's another 2-star mage. I'm going to go ahead and make a Last Whisper on Trist, because Trist is holding items for Varus later on. Now I have Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and the Pyro emblem over there. And I was also able to get 4 blasters in, because I found an Ezreal and a Hui. And so Ezreal and Hui are both 3-cost units. They both have Blaster trait. And then Trist has Blaster trait, and Rumble also has it. Rumble is a bit odd having it because Rumble's a tank unit, but I'll take it. I will take that. And then now we get the chance for a prismatic augment, so I'm going to look at the different options here. And I was like, I don't want prismatic ticket. My items are fine. I don't need Pandora's. It's definitely new recruit here. I'm happy just to take this and just play another unit. So now I get to play something else I can put on the board. And I was like, all right, I'll put the Shen in because that gets me up to Pyro 3. Note the tiers of Pyro. It's 2, 3, 4, 5. It's kind of unusual. Most of the trait tiers in this game, you have to get 2 additional ranks of the trait to get the benefit. But no, Pyro is 2, 3, 4, 5. Each time you play an additional unit, you get more of the benefit. And it, as I said, it gains additional attack speed is the big thing. And then you also stack up the team-wide benefit as you get those cinders. Pyro 2 is 12% attack speed for Pyro units, and then it goes to 25%, 45%, and then there's a big jump at Pyro 5, which requires getting an emblem. Pyro is way better with an emblem, so you can play Pyro 5. It's 70% attack speed for the Pyro units, plus they execute under 18% health instead of under 12% health, which is the default. So Trist is getting a lot of kills because Trist gets the execute. She executes under 12% because she has the Pyro emblem on her. And then this means that she also will be printing those cinders, and every 3 or every 4 cinders gives you team-wide additional attack speed. It's every 4 cinders, 1 more attack speed. So I was able to get Pyro in pretty early, and I've been getting a few cinders for every fight. So it's a little bit like I have, what's the old trait? The pump it up trait, where like you would constantly get a little bit more attack speed every round. So, you know, if I can get, I don't know, 80 of them by the end of the game, that's 20% attack speed for the entire team. Plus, if I get Pyro 5, 70% attack speed for Pyro units. So they'd have a 90% extra attack speed. This is why Varus does not really want like a Rage Blade or really attack speed in general. Varus just wants to do as much damage as fast as possible. He was terrible in the release version because he had a cast animation that took forever to go off. It was 2.5 seconds for him to use his ability, which is just ridiculously long. But they lowered that to 1.5 seconds now. I mean, we haven't seen Varus yet, but I'm planning to play towards him, and that's where this team is going. I also have to do a little bit of a tricky transition, at least in terms of my front. Oh, by the way, watch this fight. We thought for sure we were going to lose this round, but Trist does not get focused in the fight, and Trist ends up just killing everything, even though she's on like 20% health. All right, to get back to my previous point, I do have to do a little bit of a tricky transition because I'm currently playing Vanguard frontline because I hit the early blitz and I'm playing the Rumble. So I'm currently playing Vanguard frontline, but long term I need to switch to Bastion frontline and Shapeshifter frontline because Pyro trait has Shen, who's a Bastion unit, who I'm playing right now, and then also has Nasus, who's a Shapeshifter. So I'm going to want to drop the whatchamacallit, the Vanguard long term. But like by the same token, I don't want to weaken my front line too much. So I'm going to have to pick like the right moment to swap out of this. I'm also very happy to take that glove there. Remember how I said that Steadfast Heart is like a way better tank item than like the traditional tank items? Yeah, very content to make that. You can see I also slapped the Fairy emblem on the Blitzcrank just for some additional health. So I got the Pyro emblem randomly at the start of the game. And then I also got the Fairy emblem, and I'm guaranteed to get another emblem on level up as well, so that'll be nice. Now I just wish I had someone to put the Fairy crown on, but I can't because all my Fairy units are fully itemized. Now, since I'm on full win streak, I've not lost a round yet, I decided I would go ahead and level to level 7. I have 8 units on the board, but that's because I have +1 from my prismatic augment. I just decided I would level early to level 7 because I had a 2-star Hecarim, and I thought that was very worth playing to put that unit on the board. So I'll play that unit, and now I have another 2-star frontliner. Although Hecarim is like not a pure tank, he's like partially tank, partially damage. Still, I mean, I have 8 units on my board. I have the 4 Blaster and 3 Pyro in, and my front line is pretty strong at this point. So I've been hitting really hard throughout the game, and that's why it's been easy to maintain win streak up to this point. Like I haven't lost a round yet in this game. But I am going to have to consolidate my board a little bit at some point. But like I'm still hitting. I hit the 2-star Hui, and now I have 2 out of 3 Ezreals as well. So I'm not planning on playing 4 Blaster long term, but like for right now, I might as well play these units. And I decided I'll just Thief's Glove the Hui. That is a double up gift round. I'm getting the Thief's Glove coming over from my partner, JDPL Grillo. So I am looking to try to get some units for his board as well. The main thing we're looking for Veigar. Going to try to make Veigar 3-star, and he does have 4 Veigars up to this point in time. So we're going to try to get him as many Veigars as we can. And whenever you're playing like a straight up mages board, ideally you're trying to hit 3-star Veigar and 3-star Vex. It's kind of a 3-star reroll board, but by the same token, you can also look to push levels and try to get in there is a 4-cost mage Nami and then a 5-cost mage Nora, so you can try to get some of those units in too. So it's not just a 3-cost reroll build, but it often plays that way because Vex and Veigar are really important units. Okay, this person does actually have a Zephyr on their board. They got the Golem that had 2 support items, and Zephyr was one of them. So I'm definitely gonna have to be looking to make sure I dodge Zephyrs in the future. But it looks like I would have won this round anyway, and I definitely win it with Grillo's support. And that's really big because now I was able to keep the win streak going all the way through to the end of stage 3. So I got the 10-match win streak, and that has been responsible for an awful lot of econ. Also, earlier, I went ahead and bought the 2 free rerolls. It cost 2 gold to get 2 rerolls, and I was like, well, 2 rerolls cost 4 gold, and I can buy this for 2, so it seems like that's worthwhile. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I also am just still kind of chilling here, because I'm just trying to get up to level 8, and on level 8, I'm going to try to find Nasus and Varus, and then I can put my full board together, and we'll go from there. Remember, I'm also going to get an emblem at the start of this next stage. By the way, look how much loot we get. I actually get 3 Wukongs there, so I'll just sell that. I actually lose 1 gold because it only sells for 8 gold instead of 9 gold, so I actually lost a very slight amount of money there. And then look at the emblem I just got. I just got a Blaster emblem. I also get a Nasus send over from Grillo. So I'm going to go ahead and level to 8. He sent me Nasus. He was waiting on it there. And look, I actually have more stuff on my bench than I can actually use. I'm actually out of slots here on my bench. This is kind of annoying. Now I need to try to figure out who to put this Blaster emblem on. I'm trying to pick up my tank items, but I can't pick them up because at the moment there's too many of them. So I'm actually going to stuff some items just onto a random Shyvana so I can clear out enough room on my bench. Again, this really only happens when you're playing stuff like Scuttle Puddle, and I'm still just trying to sort out what I'm going to do with all these. The Nasus gets me up to 4 Pyro, and then I still have the 4 Blaster in. I actually have a Blaster emblem on my board, so I can take someone off the board. I can definitely take out the... I could take out the Rumble now, and I don't need that for 4 Blasters because I got a Blaster emblem. And I wasn't planning on playing 4 Blasters. I was planning on dropping down to 2, but since I've got the emblem, it definitely makes sense to play the 4 Blasters because I only need to play 3 normal ones, and then I've got the emblem as well. All right, the last augment is Silver, and I don't really care that much about this one. I maybe should have taken Silver Ticket just because I am going to be re-rolling a bit now. And once again, I can't pick this up because I don't have enough bench slots for it. It's pretty wild. So again, I'm going to try to pick this up. Again, just a little bit annoying. And I also definitely want to start re-rolling here on level 8. But the fact that my bench is so clogged up with these items is really pretty annoying. I also would like to get the Bard off this board. That unit's not going to stay there. But with Thief's Glove, the what is the name of that unit? The Swain, excuse me. And then I also have this Fairy emblem. I might as well put it on somebody so they get extra health. There's really no reason not to. So I was like, don't know who. I guess I'll put it on Shen. Remember, Fairy units gain additional health, so it can be useful to put this on a frontline unit. They don't get additional AD or AP from the Fairy emblem, so it's probably a little bit better to put it on a frontline unit, like the Shen that I just grabbed there. Anyway, this would have been a close fight. I don't know if I would have won. It would have been close, but I get reinforced on. So, of course, my win streak is eventually going to come to a close. Would have been nice to keep it going, but it's going to end now. And then look at this. I get a Taric here. That could be better than the Hecarim, maybe. Not sure. I also have Ezreal and Hui here, so it could be worthwhile to start picking these up as well. And I'm still thinking about how I want to do this in terms of how I want to play this board. I definitely don't think that I want to keep the whatchamacallit, the Bard on my board long term, but I'm still thinking here. You can see it's taking me a while to play this because these there's so much loot in the game in these rounds. I also should have picked up the Hui and the Ezreal, but I do find a Varus, and that's what I was looking for. So now I can look to take out the Trist and just play the Varus instead, because I definitely have good items here for Varus. I also had this tier that's been sitting on my bench for a little while, and I'm hoping that I can get a sword, because I'd really like to make Spear of Shojin. The Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, Spear of Shojin is more or less considered to be best items for Varus. Deathblade somewhere in there is also really good. And I've also heard people say that maybe it's better to not have a Last Whisper because he doesn't apply it until his second cast instead of his first cast. But yeah, I think it's still a pretty good item on him. The IE Last Whisper is a pretty good combo. All right, so I'd like to get a sword here, and I'd ideally get it on the Hui because that would get me to 4 Huis. Remember, I did pass up a Hui in my shop earlier. As I said, I probably should just pick them up with the pick up Huis and Ezreals, because why not? I don't know if I'm going to play this unit long term, but I might. But it looks like it's still there, still 2 swords, so I'll take that. I can also deny it to this other player who apparently wanted the Hui. But now I've got all the items I need to put together this unit. And then look at this, there's a Diana in my store. I was like, oh, okay. Well, you know, I was going to maybe play the Taric with the Shen. I'm definitely playing Shen because he's Pyro unit, but we'll just play the Diana instead anyway, and I'll just give the Blaster emblem over to her, because why not? That sounds pretty good. Now I'll put the Varus in, and we can take out the Trist. We don't need Trist. I could have taken Trist, and by the way, once again, my items are still sitting on the front part of the board because I have all this stupid stuff sitting on my bench. I just need to roll a little bit more. And by the way, there's double Namis in this shop, which I really should have bought for Grillo because he's playing a Mage's board. But yeah, little slow on the uptake there. I'll go ahead and put this Pyro emblem on the Ezreal. So this gets me the 5 Pyro in there. Remember, this means that Pyro units get 70% attack speed plus whatever I get from the Pyro Cinders, and they execute units under 18% health. So it's pretty nice, especially because Varus' ability, he pulls back the bow and shoots like a big explosion of fire that hits a good portion of the board. So he's really good at executing units. All right, so I still need to roll here. As I said, I've been slow to roll here. I actually have 2 Akalis on the board, and look at all these Cinders I got from the last round. That's pretty nice, but I have 2 Akalis on the board, and that is definitely not right. I definitely need to do something better than that, but I'm just taking my time here because there's been so many items I've been juggling here. It's been very confusing for me. Again, I did not do a great job of picking up mages for Grillo's board. I don't think that it's the Nami or the Rise here, but I'm just didn't quite have enough time. I still need more time to roll here. Again, I'm not used to playing this team composition, so I'm not as fast as I would like to be for some of these other things. And yeah, I kind of need to 2-star my board. If I can get 2-star, Varus and 2-star Swain, or not 2-star Swain, 2-star what's his name? Nasus. That's the other unit I'm looking for. If I can get 2-star versions of them, I'll be feeling pretty confident. I was able to go over to Grillo's board, but not in fast enough time. He actually has 2 Varuses on his bench there, so he's not too far off getting me like a 2-star version of the unit. I do get another Nasus there, though. And then, oh, I get a Smolder. That's huge. That is really big. So Smolder is the 5-cost Blaster unit. So ideally, it's nice to play Smolder together with Varus, and then I have the Blaster emblem, so I get another unit from there. And I decided I would go ahead and put Rakan on the board because Rakan is going to get me Fairy trait back in, and he's just a good frontline unit in general. So now I have 5 Pyro, 4 Blaster. I have Frost trait picked up because I'm playing Swain and Hui together with that Diana, along with Bastion, Fairy, and Shapeshifter over here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the board. And then I actually get... I'll go ahead and make Rageblade on Smolder, and then I actually get another emblem, and I get a Frost emblem here. This is the last emblem from my Flexible, so this is pretty nice. I mean, I could try to reforge it into something as well, but I'm pretty content with this. I mean, I could have tried to like reforge it into a Pyro emblem, and then I can drop the Akali if I do that, but as I said, I'm pretty content with this. We'll make the 2-star Rakan. I can get 8 Pyro Cinders, so that's a permanent 2% attack speed for the team. There's also a Nora here. I asked Grillo if he wanted the Vhagar or the Nora, And then I can also go ahead and look to maybe make something here. I believe he said he wanted the Nora because that unit's harder to find. So I was like, what unit do I want here? I could do Dragon's Claw here. I could do Redemption here. I also have multiple Reforgers that I haven't used yet. So a number of different possibilities. And I end up taking the Dragon's Cloak. This fight's pretty close, but not quite enough to beat this board. This person, I think, is the strongest in the lobby. But like, I would have won that round with 2-star Varus and 2-star Nasus. So I wasn't too far off there. And then I actually do have to buy the Nora. I've had to send up. Again, this is the issue with the like super high loot lobbies, is there's just so much stuff going on all the time. It gets really confusing because there's so many items and so much stuff to worry about. It's really hard to figure all this stuff out. All right, anyway, there is I'm on 6 Shen 6 ways. I'm also on 2 out of 3 Varuses, 2 out of 3 Nasuses. So I'm not that far off some of these. I end up getting a Varus send from Grillo. He actually sent me 2 Varuses. And then there's the Nasus as well. So at this point I was like, all right, I think my board is pretty much there. I still have a duplicator. So like I could duplicate for Diana 2-star if I wanted here. I also somehow only have 2 out of 3 Akalis. But I'm also not that far off Shen 3-star, Hui 3-star, so I figured I'd just wait and see. Now that I've got the 2-star Nasus and the 2-star Varus, yeah, when Varus pulls back that bow, he does an awful lot of damage with 4 Blaster and 5 Pyro in there. Yeah, my board is pretty strong. I have 2-star just about everything at this point, everything except the Diana. And I've been pretty lucky with these emblems here. The Flexible gave me some really good emblems because the Pyro emblem plus the Blaster emblem have a lot of natural synergy. Look at all these cinders I've gotten here too. And then on top of that, I wouldn't say that Fairy Trade has much synergy with this board, but like, lets me play Rakan. Like, that's not bad. Like, that's still pretty good. I don't mind playing Rakan on this board. I wouldn't mind playing Melio either, but I hit the 2-star Rakan. I haven't seen Melio. I also thought about maybe playing Callista for Fairy Trait, but like I kind of have enough damage. What I need is a little bit more frontline. So I think playing the Rakan is good in that regard, although it feels a little bit weird not having Preserver Trait and playing Rakan. I still don't think it's that bad. I'd also love to get another Smolder, because if I got another Smolder, I could duplicate it for Smolder 2-star, which would be nice. Smolder has been probably the weakest 5 cost in the set thus far. He's basically a dragon that flies around shooting fire, which sounds really awesome, but he's kind of not. He's kind of not. I'm sure they'll make him overpowered later on. He makes really, really good use of a Pyro emblem. He also makes good use of a Frost emblem as well, because his traits are Dragon plus Blaster, so he plays naturally into this board, and yeah, he gets additional AD and AP from the Frost emblem. He gets additional attack speed from the Pyro emblem. And his only real key item is Rageblade. Rageblade's really good on him. All right, out of the options here, I mean, I could try to take... all these other things are like AD items. I don't really have a room for an AD item. But there is also a Shapeshifter emblem here as well. So I was like, okay, well, I can just turn another unit into a Shapeshifter. I'm pretty happy with that. And if you remember my flexible trait, it gives me 25 health team-wide for every emblem that I have. I actually have a lot of emblems by this point in time. I got 4 from my trait, and that was my 5th one. So that's 125 health for the whole team. That's, you know, that's not nothing. It's a lot of health. It's almost like having, I don't know, what was it, like Bruiser's trait from some of the previous sets. So I can just put this Shapeshifter emblem on one of these units. And now I'm just rolling down to see what else I can hit. Again, I'd really like to hit one more Diana, or I guess I could duplicate the Diana right now, but she's not really that key of a unit for my board. She's not terrible, but she's a little bit more of a trait bot. I think Rakan got quite a bit of more health when I put that Shapeshifter emblem. I think he got like 400 or 500 health from that, from the Shapeshifter bonus, plus from the health that's on the emblem itself. All right, I did notice, remember there was the one board that had the Zephyr? I did remember that there was a board that had that, so I'm going to swap my main tank Nasus out of the way. And yeah, we're kind of just ripping through these boards. This board at least gets Varus low enough to die, but I mean, I still have like Hui still alive, Rakan's still alive, Nasus is still alive. Not bad, and we're going to knock that team down to just 1 HP. So we have one more gift round here. And since the other team is down to just 1 health left, I was like, all right, I'm just going to roll this all the way down to 0 and see what I can hit here, because I still got that duplicator. I'm going to get some more items over here from the gift round, and I'll go ahead and take this that stuns the enemy team. So what can I hit? What can I hit? I still have the duplicator. Remember, I'm just trying to hit something here. Can I hit anything out of what's left over? I'll sell the Swains. Anything? Okay, well, there's another Hui. So I was like, all right, well, I do want to get used to this duplicator, so I'll go ahead and duplicate that. Could have also duplicated the Diana, But I'm fine with this. And then I've just got kind of like leftover items here. So I was like, you know, I didn't hit 2-star Diana, so I'll itemize the Rakan instead. I actually don't have a heal cut on my teams. Although I did roll Morello's on Hui this round. By the way, Hui rolled really good items on his Thieves Club this round. So if we win this round, the game's over. This person's playing the Ari board that's really popular, the Ari Zoe Poppy board. And like this board that they have is not weak at all, but I have outscaled this board by a lot. I've actually high rolled into a ridiculously strong board here. So we annihilate them. It's not even remotely close. And I'll go over to Grillo's board. And is it enough to beat this board? It looks like we're a little bit short. But hey, we still won the game anyway. And that's that. GG. So we'll take it. That was a really fun game. I'm glad I got to showcase the Pyro board, which I hadn't played through yet, and the 4 blasters. Varus with 4 blasters, 5 Pyro is pretty strong. And then I was also able to get all these emblems that just really accelerated the rest of my team. Like I said, the Pyro Smolder, getting the Blaster emblem for 4 blasters. I maybe could have found someone better than Diana, but I didn't really have a great other person to put it on. The Fairy emblem, the Frost emblem, the Shapeshifter emblem. At some point when you have this many traits, the game just starts to get a little bit out of control. So I was a little bit lucky with what I got from Flexible. Also, we got promoted to Platinum here, so yay. I was a little bit lucky with what came out of that augment, but I also think I played it pretty well. And I had like 100 cinders by the end of the game, which was pretty wild. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, take care, folks. I will see you again soon.